Hola, estudiantes. We have several students who missed class today, and we do have a project due next Tuesday. So I am putting together the screencast, and by watching the video, I think it will be very helpful for those of you who are not there so that you know what is due next Tuesday. As you can see, the rubric for the project is right here. And so if you were to click on that, I'm not going to click on it right now, but it would give you all of the written directions for the project and the expectations. If you would like a hard copy, of course, you can click on this and print it, or you could come to my classroom if you miss class and I can give you a copy. But we are going to be using Google Slides or Google Presentation to do a project using the new vocabulary for the new chapter, A mí me gusta mucho project is what I'm calling it. So to get started on your project, all you have to do is click this particular link. And I am logged into Caroline's account because I wanted you to see a student view. So sorry about that, Caroline, but I did log in to your drive so that you could see what this will look like. And I'll actually start an assignment. I won't submit it, of course. You'll do your own, but I wanted to give you an idea for the students to see what this would look like. So you click on the assignment, and when you click on the assignment, you are going to click the Create button. I'm going to have you create a presentation, so you're going to go down to the yellow icon and click Presentation. And you can see that Google is telling you that it is creating. And what it does is it actually kind of puts a link here so that you can go directly to Google Slides or Google Presentation. That's the same software. So I'm going to click on that assignment, and it will take me to Google Slides. Now, if you were looking at the rubric, you would know that you need to create 3 slides, a minimum of 3 slides for this project. And Google Slides always starts you off with 1 slide. So for that first slide, it defaults to this format. And I think for me, it would be easier to start with a blank slide. So I'm going to go to Slide and go to Layout. And I'm going to change it to a blank slide. It actually starts with a title slide. And if you would like to do a title slide, that would be great. But it's not required for this project. So I'm going to click blank, and then since I know I need 3 slides, I'm going to actually go to duplicate and duplicate for slide number 2 and once again for slide number 3. So now I have my 3 slides. The first slide is supposed to be titled Me Gusta Mucho. So I'm going to go up to the Insert menu, click Insert, and insert a text box. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to insert a text box up at the top of my slide. And like I said, the first one is supposed to be Me gusta mucho, which would mean something that I like to do a lot. So I'm going to type that text in there. It's a little small, so I'm going to highlight it, make it a little bit larger. 60 should be about right. I'm also going to open up the alignment ruler and center it in the middle. Now I have a lot of other options. I could change the color of the text. I click on this triangle, change it to red, or all those other options. So there's lots of options there, but I'm going to stop with that. Now I need to pick 5 activities that I like to do a lot. And I really encourage you to use page 52 in your textbook for ideas. And I'm going to find 5 pictures of things that I like to do and then label them. By the way, all these things that I say I like to do, I should be picking verbs, or at least when I use the vocabulary word, I want to make sure that I use the verb. And you, again, almost this entire chapter is verbs. You're not going to say, I like books, but you can say, I like to read. I want you to focus on the verb there. Instead of saying, I like sports, you could say, I like to practice sports. Me gusta practicar deportes. So I might search for the noun, but essentially when it comes to writing it, I'm going to be writing the verb. So one of the things I like to do is read. So I might put in there read books and see what comes up into Google search. I'm searching for an image here. and I see this image. I like that, so I'm going to select that and click select, and it will go right into my document. Now, since I want 5 images on that page, that's going to be a little large, so I can move it around. I can resize it. I think that's pretty good. A little bit smaller there. And then I also have to label my image. So once again, I go to the insert, I go to the text box, and I'm not sure if this is a verb on page 52. If it's not, it's certainly a verb that you will learn soon, and we learned when we did Rosetta Stone. And that verb, oops, I think I lost my text box. Let me try that one more time. That verb is leer, which means to read. So I'm going to type that in my text box. I'm not going to capitalize it because it is going with the sentence, me gusta mucho leer. But I am going to make it a little bit larger because we're going to be presenting these in front of the class next Tuesday. I want to make sure that it can be seen. And again, I think I'm going to go up and center it. And I have my first one done, me gusta leer. Now I'm going to need to find 4 other verbs of things that I like to do very much to complete this slide. And I just noticed that I did this for slide 3, even though this is supposed to be the first slide. But with Google Presentation, that's a very easy fix. You can actually take your slide and move them into a different order at any time by just moving it up. Another way you can change the order is by going to slide, and you can see here you have the option of moving a slide up or down to the beginning or to the end. So lots of ways to fix something like that. Okay, slide number 2 is entitled Me Gusta. So again, these are things that I like to do, maybe not as much as in the first set of pictures, but still verbs of things that I like to do. And once again, I'm going to type in Me Gusta. Highlight that. Make it larger again. 60 is about right, I think. Align it in the center again. Again, if I want to play with color, I can. Certainly don't have to, but it's an option. Probably want to stick to somewhat dark colors that are going to show up. All right. Other interesting things you can do with your slides. If you go to the slide menu, you can change the background, and you can change either the entire color of your slide. We want something with more color, and be done. Or you can actually put a background of a picture. So you can go to change background, go to image, and you can do a search again. And actually, if I wanted to, we were talking about books before. I found a background with books. I could make that the entire background of my slide. I did have some students ask me if I could have more than 3 slides. You can certainly do that. 3 is just a minimum. So just kind of wanted to show you some things there that you can do with that. And then again, like in slide number 1, I'm going to need to come up with 5 images and 5 verbs of things I like to do. For example, por ejemplo, me gusta caminar, me gusta pasar tiempo con mis amigos, etc. Okay? All right, slide number 3. Once again, I'm going to insert a text box. By the way, if I didn't want to insert a text box every time, another thing I could do is apply another layout. Some of these layouts actually have titles right into them. So that is something you can do. Something else you can do is put a theme to your slides. So if you go to change theme, you can select that, and it defaults to simple light, but as you can see, there are lots of other options that you can pick. And that will change the theme. And you can change the theme of all of the slides or simply the slide that you're working on. But these are all options that you can play around with at home. Then this way I click to add the title. And this time my title for slide number 3 is No Me Gusta Nada. Now, for those of you who weren't in class today, we talked about no me gusta nada. What that means is something that I don't like to do this at all. Pretty strong language, something you really don't like to do. So for this slide presentation, you're going to pick Again, 5 verbs from page 52, or a verb that you research on your own. That's fine as well. And put the pictures and label those underneath. So that is basically the presentation, those 3 slides with the 5 activities that either you like to do or you don't like to do. I'm going to pretend that my presentation is done, and this is due by next Tuesday at 3 o'clock. So it's important that you submit it by then, and you submit by going back to the Google Classroom. And again, here is my presentation that I already started. I'm going to pretend it's done. And if it is done, you're going to click the Turn In button. Google's going to ask you one more time, are you ready to turn in your assignment? If you are, you lose the ability to edit these files. Okay, and if I agree with all that, then I'm going to click Turn In again. I'm not going to do that right now because this is not Caroline's assignment, and I don't want to turn this in for her and mess that up for her. So I'm just going to cancel this. But if she was done, she would click Turn In here, and she would be done. So that is basically the project. And again, it's due next Tuesday. If you have any questions, please come see me before then. Thank you.